with me probably being the least talented in the family, but I had the best work ethic. So I gave my Aussie helmet and he came down and he's batting and he's pumping me through in the cover drive, so I sniffed him.
He was pulling you as well.
I couldn't get him. And I'm like, far out. Why are you playing cricket?
Welcome to another episode of Home of Heroes. I have with me one of the fastest bowlers in the world. Maybe the fastest. Actually, he is the fastest bowler in the world. And he is known to have hit the longest six in the world. I hear the ball still hasn't landed. But we'll talk about that six a little bit more a little later. Welcome to the show, Bradley.
Robs, hello, mate. Good to see you, buddy.
Good to see you. How you been?
I've been good. Busy but good. It's been a wonderful IPL. Great to be back in my second home, India.
Yeah?
And loving it. Absolutely loving it.
And if I'm not wrong, this is the first time you've kind of stayed in India for like a long period of time without going back home.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, and post-COVID too. So normally I do about 3 weeks max away from the family, go home for a week, then come back.
Yeah.
But because we've got a family trip after this,
Oh, nice.
I thought I'd guts it out and just do, 65 days straight and then head home. It's too hard on the kids otherwise, and having a youngster.
Yeah, I want to get straight down to it. Binger.
Yep.
Where does that nickname come
Where?
from?
In Australia, in particular in Sydney, there's a chain of electrical stores called Bing Lee.
Okay.
And it's as simple as that. I wish I had a better answer
Bing
for
Lee.
it. Bing Lee, yeah. And it's a Chinese-Australian owned brand.
Okay.
And since 1957.
Right.
And always as a kid growing up, it used to be Bing. First they tried Bruce first. So my younger brother ended up getting Bruce. That got the hand-me-down after I went, no, I'm not being called Bruce. So Bing, yeah. So Binger, we'll start as Bing Lee and then Binger.
Oh, nice. Okay. And so what was growing up like for you? Because you have another brother as well.
Yeah, two.
Yeah.
Beautiful childhood.
Yeah.
Speak to mum and dad every single day. Doesn't matter where I am in the world.
Wow.
They are my two biggest supporters. Beautiful people. We grew up in a very loving household, a very normal household in Mount Warrigal next to Oak Flats. I played for the Oak Flats Rats as my local cricket team, as you said. But just a very normal childhood and a very loving childhood. And one thing that my parents have always been really aware of is to respect people. Doesn't matter what colour your skin is, eye colour, heck, doesn't matter. Just be nice to people and they'll be nice to you. And that's the way I was brought up. So very lucky, and having an older brother and a younger brother, our games of backyard cricket were fierce. They were so good.
So who was the best among the three?
My younger brother, Grant.
Grant was the
So
best?
Shane and I both played for Australia.
Yeah.
And Grant was better than both of us put together, but he got to the age of 18 and said, I'm not really enjoying my cricket. And Shane said, well, if you're not enjoying it, quit. And he quit. Oh. And Shane says, I hope I haven't cost him a test career.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
I remember you telling me a story about him helping you out when you're coming back from injury and, he'd bat against you.
Yeah, he hadn't picked up a bat in about 12 years. And I came back and I was about my third session back. So pace is getting back to about 135, 140 Ks again, starting to work up to some decent pace.
Yeah.
And I said, oh, can you face a few? He said, sure. So I gave my Aussie helmet and he came down and he's batting and he's pumping me through mid-wicket and in the cover drive, so I sniffed him.
He was pulling you as well.
Just couldn't get him. And I'm like, far out. Why are you playing cricket? But no, he was an amazing cricketer, but just chose not to do it, which is fine.
You started playing cricket at the Oak Flat Rats. That's like a little bit of a tongue twister. And you started scaring batsmen at a very young age. Did you know then that you were going to be like a rapid bowler?
Well, I started when I was 9.
Yeah.
And my older brother Shane, who also played for Australia, so he's 2.5 years older than me, literally in the backyard, and just said to me, bowl to me. I'm like, well, how do you do that? He goes, do that and do that.
Yeah.
So did that. And then next year I signed up for the under-10s as a 9-year-old. My first game ever of outdoor cricket, I got a few wickets and I thought, this game's pretty cool. This is pretty exciting. I didn't realise that my first over I had 6 for none off 1, all bowled.
Really?
Yeah. Every single ball went hit the stumps and the poor kids came off, they were crying. They couldn't pad up. And I I was happy, but my parents felt bad for the parents and the kids. But yeah, just fell in love with the game, and we played in the backyard. So I knew from the age of 9 that I wanted to bowl fast because I couldn't bowl spin. I wasn't a great batsman, and I wanted to bowl fast. And I just got that enthusiasm and that really good vibe out of seeing the stumps either break or, you know, being knocked over.
So you start at a very, very young age then. So 9, and you always bowled fast.
Yeah, and that's all I've, like, from the age of 9, I told my mum and dad that I want to play for Australia and I want to wear the baggy green cap and I want to bowl 160 Ks.
Wow.
From the age of 9. So whatever I did that day moving up until now was always destined to achieve that dream.
Yeah.
And obviously ups and downs along the way, which I'm sure we'll get to.
Yeah.
But that was it. That's all I ever wanted. Play for Australia.
When did you realize you could actually bowl fast? When did that kind of strike you?
Probably 16.
Yeah?
I reckon 16 was the time when, you know, because I was playing all the grades and I was always the quickest in under 10s, under 12s, 14s. I got to 16s and I went from the south coast because we were 2 hours away in the country out of Sydney.
Okay.
So mum and dad had to drive me up, you know, 2 or 3 times a week to Sydney. 2 hours one way, 2 hours the other.
Wow.
And get to the stage where I was out there and I was trying to bowl. But at the age of 16, playing in the Sydney grade, so go from regional grade to Sydney grade against the big boys, that was when it was like, okay, this is going to be challenging. But 16, I thought I knew then I was going to be quick.
And what was that journey like? As in, did you still stay at home or did you move out and move to Sydney?
No, I moved to Sydney when I was 21, so I commuted from the age of 16, 17.
Okay.
So played first grade cricket at the age of 16 and I was small. I hadn't shot up yet.
Okay.
So I was always tiny and skinny.
Yeah. And was the action the same? I'm sorry.
I used to fall away a lot.
Okay.
And that's when I broke my back.
Yeah, at 16?
At 16.
Was that the first of your injury?
Yeah, yeah. First proper. And I was in a back brace for 14 weeks. Because I was at a fast bowlers camp and the great Dennis Lilly was there. So I met DK Lilly for the first time and he pulled me aside at the end and said, hey, you got good pace, mate, but if you don't change your action, within a year or so, I reckon you're going to have a broken back. And sure enough, 16 or 17, I broke my back. So I got his number off the ACB back then, the Australian Cricket Board, or Cricket Australia as it's known now. Said, Dennis, it's Brett Lee here. Or Mr. Lilly, it's Brett Lee here. You were right, I was wrong. Now I'm ready to listen. He goes, great, we could work on your action. So that's when I modified and changed it.
Wow. Okay, before we get to you know, the people who actually had an influence in your life, as in Shane's had a big influence in your life as well. What was that like for you, and what kind of an influence did he have on your life? Yeah,
like a great influence. You know, a really positive outlook on life. My brother, life of the party, fun bloke.
Yeah.
You know, and was a very good cricketer. You know, I'm disappointed that he didn't play more for Australia. I think, with me probably being the least talented in the family, but I had the best work ethic. You know, I never gave up.
Yeah.
Whereas Shane was like, he had the most, sort of, him and Grant had the most talent, but he retired at 29, had one injury in his life.
Yeah.
And went, I'll go and choose to do business now.
Wow.
Whereas he could have pushed through and played a few more years. But he had a great career. He was really happy. He captained New South Wales. Playing under him was good. You know, having an older brother to look up to. But he pathed the way for me. You know, he sort of paved the road I had to walk down. So he helped me a lot.
Amazing.
And I can only thank him for what he's done.
Yeah. Any anecdotes that you can share with us?
Oh, there's heaps. One time in the backyard, it was stinking hot day, like 35, 40 degrees in Sydney, or back in the country area, Mount Warrigal. And bowled all day. So we had like the pot plants, like the little trees. We'd put them at short leg. That was David Boone on one side.
Yeah.
So if you get caught in the pot plant, you're out.
Yeah.
Grant was fielding, I was bowling. Bowled for like 3.5 hours. Shane got 334 in the backyard. He was out nicked off and said, nah, didn't hit it, you know. Just blatantly cheat. And we walk inside, we grab a cold drink. I still remember I bowled for 3.5 hours. I came out. He nicked me off with a leg cutter first ball and walked inside. I'm like, I've just bowled for 3.5 hours and he's got me out first ball. So we're only young, so I started crying. Mum ran out, gave Shane a smack. I got another bat. So I ended up batting for about 20 minutes. But I just remember those days, and him doing that without even noticing was toughening me up.
Yeah.
Making me tougher for those situations where you can't get a wicket or you have to bowl and bowl and bowl.
Yeah.
And because I wanted to play cricket every single day, we hit the ball over the back fence, we couldn't find the ball. He goes, I'm going to go inside unless you ride down the shop and buy a new tennis ball. So get on my bike, ride 5 k's down the shop, get a new tennis ball, come back, play cricket again. Because he knew that I was so keen to play that I would commute back and forth to the shops.
Oh, that's amazing. It's actually quite funny as well.
Yeah, I mean, little bugger. I'm a big bugger cheating, right? And my poor younger brother was a fieldsman, so I probably went away retired. You know, to get a bat or a bowl. Yeah. I go into the Australian dressing room for the first time.
Yeah.
McGrath's on my left, Gilly's on my right. And I still remember before we even got to bowl, before my first test match, I'm sitting here and I'm, you know, I've met most of the guys before, but not all of them. And McGrath's talking to me and he's like really engaged and he's like this, he's leaning forward, he's talking to me. I'm thinking, and I'm like listening to every single word. He was distracting me so Gilly could tie my shoelace together. So when I hopped up, I almost fell over. I could have been injured before my first test.